All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you all are doing well. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin. Looks like overnight and most of yesterday, we just kind of blasted through all these levels right here. Honestly, I'm going to remove these two. This just got taken out. I'm going to keep my green levels because they were more of the more important support levels. Um, we took out 62,000. We hit about, what was it? Our low was 61,880. So we took out the 62 that I wanted to see. That's a good thing. Not really getting the reaction that I wanted to see in the market. I gotta assume that this will probably keep rolling over until it doesn't. Um, Looking at some of these smaller time frames, yeah, I mean, you don't if this did have a stronger balance, like we took out that liquidity at 62,000, but I was expecting, if this had a stronger bounce, we wouldn't come down here still and keep retesting this support level at 62,146. It would have just had a strong reaction and just kept, kind of at least having some sort of a relief rally for a little bit. Um, One good thing is now we're below weekly opens. If I drill down into some of these small, like the 4 hour, for example, um, there's a possibility that at some point this week that we retest this. We don't have to because we've traded above it for the week, but there's a potential that we do retest it. I don't know if we will, um, but one thing that is in the Bulls' favor at least is that you've been dumping for so long and you're still you're starting to get extended from your 1 hour 21 MA, your 4 hour 21 MA. It's starting to get extended from that area. So at some point you're going to get consolidation, forming a bear flag, or you're going to get a small relief rally where you're going to touch the 21 at least and then keep going, right? So I, you know, obviously not financial advice, but I don't think that it's ideal to look for longs right now because even when, with this wick right here, you could have caught something from the bottom of this. It would have been very risky, but, it's not offering a lot of movement, right? You're not getting a lot of an expansive move back up. It's just more so offering maybe not even $1,000, right? This is like, you'd have to use a full Bitcoin and you'd only get like an $800 move. So not really a great, and that would be selling the top here. So not really a great look for the longs right now. Um, yeah, dropping down into like the 30 to 15. I mean, it keeps on making this looks like more like a descending triangle type of thing to me. It's not looking great. So this is gonna just keep taking you lower until it doesn't, right? Um, yeah. So, 60,000 931. So, I mean, we're getting closer to that 60,189 level that I've been targeting. It's going to be really interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at liquidity and see kind of how this lines up. I honestly, let me see. 61,709 I have down here. Let me pull a fib here and see where that's at. So we're at this fib right here at 62,099. I think, not sure where that line came from. It probably came from pulling from right here. I'm going to delete that. I don't think that's accurate. Um, I'm going to probably say the next one would be pulling from down here, so 61,123. And honestly, like 61,123, guys, I mean, I would say that this is pretty much our line in the sand right here. Before we really like drop lower. I would target 61,123 for today, see if we get a reaction. If not, this thing is just probably going to collapse and it's going to take out all the rest of these levels more than likely. I wouldn't expect a relief rally after that. Until we get into the 50s. That's going to be really ugly, an ugly move if we cannot hold that level right there and bounce, properly from it. I mean, 62, you know, that 62 146 we weren't able to really bounce off of, and that's taking out that double bottom. That was a lot of liquidity right there. So we have to treat that now as resistance. So if anything, I would be today, you know, looking for a setup for a short somewhere. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, you're going to see probably some trend at least within, you know, today, tomorrow, but nothing major. I mean, even if we get back up to weekly open, we're gonna use it as resistance now and bearishly retest it probably and then fall from there. So that's kind of what I'm expecting as far as the macro trend goes. Let's take a look at trading different our liquidity tools. So on the daily, again, a lot more, you know, concentrated liquidity to the downside. If I zoom in here, you have one little dot right here, 69K. Highly doubt you're going to get there, at least in June. And I think this is pretty much June is going to be the bearish month, right? It's going to be the bearish expansive month that the bears have been waiting for. So that's what it looks like so far. I don't see us recovering that high. If anything, like I said, you're gonna get small bounces, you know, maybe $1,000, $800 bounces, and then it's gonna keep rolling over is what it looks like. Um, so, you know, as far as the daily goes, you know, you gotta expect we're gonna probably visit, you know, at least this 58K area first, and then the 54. So this is within our value area profile. Now we're getting into the middle of the range. So, you know, you're getting into your equilibrium of the range. Um, and you're going to start trading below it. So, you know, you got to think that we're in the premium. We were in the premium. We reached up, right, to the upper premium of the range. And now we're falling, you know, getting to into the discount again, right? So we're getting into the discount of the profile. Okay, so you know, next area it's telling us is 57,939. So there's could be a possible bounce from there. We have to see, right? So I would expect taking out this green area even down to 56. And then, you know, obviously like this 54 area is likely, very likely to bounce off the value area low, right? So just kind of expect those two areas for now. I'm gonna put some lines here, so let me make these a different color. Let's see here. Make this maybe green, and we'll make this one down here. And like I said, we don't have to necessarily take all of it out. We could definitely, you know, have a decent bounce from one of these areas, like 54, could possibly give us an opportunity. I would more so target the value area low. I think that's more realistic for right now. If we start really diving on a macro scale here, like we have been. Um, the 4 hour, let's take a look here. So the 4 hour is basically diving into this liquidity pool as we expected. And like I said, not really offering a balance. I mean, your last hope is going to be that those low 61 area. I know that this looks like it's kicking, it says like the 60,000 that I had on my chart. So uh, it's going to be really difficult to say. I am not really, you know, like I'm not longing, right? Because you're just kind of catching falling daggers at this point. Um, and I got caught up yesterday with trying that one time. I tried that one time and it didn't work out for me. And I closed early because I didn't want to get my stop loss hit. So um, you know, I would any bounce that we get is a potential to pop probably short from. You know, you've got to pull a 786 to kind of see where we could possibly get to, but I would not, you know, really expect a huge major bounce from any of these areas just yet, at least far as timing wise either. So, you know, for July, it's going to be very interesting how we open the month. I do want to see a decent, you know, move down, um, just to, you know, that would be the only hope for the Bulls is if we start the month bearish. And then we could possibly have like a bounce and hopefully even get it to be a green candle. But at this point, it's just looking very, very, very weak. The market's looking very weak. I mean, you can see we took out that 62,000 double bottom. we dove into this really deep liquidity and we're not even hardly getting a bounce here. So um, as far as levels I'd be looking for, let's take a look here at the fibs here. I might have to actually drill down into the 15-minute. So first area, let's see, let me take this off real quick. First area I would look for would probably be around here. So you'd have to get up to about 62,811. Let's see how that lines up here. Yeah, so that lines up with that little bit of liquidity right there, about 62,811. Yep, that's perfect. So I would have this on your chart, 62,811. And then if we get above that, let's see, that would be then pulling from this area up here. So maybe this wick right here, yeah. So then I would probably say that you're looking at this area right here, 63,613. And then, you know, what we're really looking for, guys, is how price reacts, and potentially, you know, these could be short entries. Not financial advice, but that's kind of what I'm looking at as far as liquidity goes. I don't see us running out this double top this month. And I think 63,613, that was around, yeah, it's a little bit above weekly open. So you could probably even drop that lower. Let's see here. This is probably going to be a little bit lower. So let's see where that would be pulled from. 63,613. So maybe from this one right here. It looks like the right one. Yeah, 63. 3, I think it was. So right around here, 63 to 279. Yeah, that's 271. So I would look for those two areas right there. So you have one at 62,807. We get above that, you look for one at 63,262. And as you can see, guys, I mean, that's kind of wiping out double tops, right? So the first one wipes out this double top. The second one wipes out this one right here. So that's what I would be looking for as far as, you know, possible entry for a short. Again, do what you want with that information, not financial advice. Looking at our order book, you can see that, you know, it kind of aligns with that 63 level that we're talking about here, 62,807 to 63. So that aligns with these two orders right here. And then, of course, you have a ton more orders to the downside. So for right now, especially because we traded up first, we have to expect that this week is going to be bearish. And we can retest, like I said, you know, sooner rather than later, I want to see us retest weekly open. If not, we're just going to keep collapsing. I don't think that we're going to back above weekly open. I think we're going to retest it from a bearish perspective, using it as resistance, and then fall from there for right now. So these are the two levels I would be watching today to the upside. And then as far as to the downside, honestly, the first level I'd probably watch would be the 61,124, obviously, and then the 61,189. I don't think we're going to get, like I said, a strong bounce from either of these areas, but it might provide, you know, an area for you to possibly take profit if you are short. So that's what I'm seeing so far in the market, guys. Let me do one look at the simple map here. Let's take a look here. All right, so when it comes to our simple map, again, this is going to be our scalping time frame. So your 15-minute, your 1 hour, your 5-minute. It does look like we have more, a little bit more of the 100x to the upside. So, you know, around that 62.8 area, up to, where's the 63.3 here? Right around here, 63.270. So it's taking out a decent amount of 100x and 50x. That is a possibility before we keep moving down. Really not a lot of 100x here to drive us up to the upside. Thankfully, though, to the downside, there's not a lot either. So I think at this point we have to start relying more on the swing aspect of this, because we are, like I said, in a very bearish trend. So this could just keep wiping down lower. I mean, there is a lot more 25x and 10x to the downside sooner rather than later, and there's a lot more 50x as well. So definitely gives incentive for the market makers to move it down, you know, before moving it back up. Looking at the swing area here. This is gonna be your 4 hour and your daily. You know, right next to us we have the 25x, we have the 10x. So there's a lot more people that we need to take out that are trying to long than there are trying to short in this the near term. So that does allude to the fact that we're probably going to take this out before we obviously get to 60. What was this 67 200. I agree with that. So um it's saying that we're going to come wipe all of this out down to 59, at least 58.8, before even thinking about moving up a lot more potentially. I mean, we could, right? We could at least, let's see if I can drag this over here. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Maybe let's see. Yeah, gotta do it from this end. Yeah, I mean, we could take some of this out. Like even to not even to 63.9, but I think is there anything that I can really zoom in on? No, it's just these more of these 4 hour daily type bars. I think they are. So yeah, you got to assume that we could possibly get a little bit up on this current bar that we're at, and then we just fall from there. Anyways, guys, this is what I'm seeing for the market today. If you want to trade using my Trading Different tools, feel free to use my code, tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean. Really helps you get a feel for where we're at in the market on a micro and a macro time frame. So feel free to use that. You'll get 10% off of the tool suite. But I will be back later on this evening, afternoon/evening, to give you guys another update on what's happening with Bitcoin for the day. So anyways, guys, hope you found this video informative. I will talk to you all later. Take care.